Hello, this is a run for Hades 2. We're going to be clearing the surface. We're going to be doing no Arcana and no Boons. So for this we're going to be using the aspect of Nurgle. It has a lot of damage without needing to have too much support from Boons or Arcana. The opening keepsake is going to be the Chronos Watch, so that we can clear away any boons. So you have 4 charges of this, so here we're going to be selling off our first boon there. Actually, the first boon we saw turned into an onion from one of the vows, Vow of Forfeit, I believe. And then this is the Medea room, so this does not count as a boon, it's just a gift, or whatever you want to call it, from Medea. That was not a very useful gift from Medea. What you really want is the one that adds mana, because you obviously don't have a boon this run to help you with mana. So that's going to be an issue for all these runs, is your mana. Because you want to use your Omega attack, because that's where most of your damage is going to come from, especially with this weapon. I'm going to be using the Omega attack a lot, pretty much. That's going to be the main source of damage here. But yeah, other than collecting mana from the mana rewards, there's not really any way to regenerate during the fight. So that's going to be a tricky part of it. We also have our companion as Tula. I think it's Tula. Yeah, Tula. That's just to give a Death Defiance and a little bit more damage. It deals 100 damage per Tula attack, which is something, considering it's going to be pretty difficult to increase our damage throughout the run, so having a little bit of extra from Tula helps, of course. So you want to see rooms with the fewest amount of boon rewards. So that's heart containers, mana containers, Medea, and aspect of Selene, and the hammers. The Daedalus hammers. So we have enough this run, so I think we end this first area here with 1 Chronos charge remaining, which is about average. I think if you can leave this area, this first zone, the town, I forget what it's called, Aphira? I forget what it's called. But if you can leave this first area with 2 charges, that's excellent. But most of the time it's going to be 1. If it's 0, then you kind of just have to reset. And this is going to be a reset heavy run for sure. This run that we're watching now wound up being successful, but yeah, it's pretty hard to tell early on. So that hammer was the Seething Marauder, I believe it was. And that gives 60 points of damage on your attack, which is huge. That's probably the best hammer that you're going to have for this run with this particular aspect. I also like the one that increases your I think it's the Berserk, the mode where you gain health per attack, so it makes it so it lasts longer and you gain 2 health per attack instead of 1, since yeah, obviously you're not getting any help from aspects or boons, so a little bit of resiliency is nice. So this aspect of Selene we chose was the one that resurrects an enemy that has them fight for you. That is pretty useful if you can get the Path of Stars so that the resurrected enemy can last indefinitely throughout the fight. So that's just a repeatable source of damage that you don't have to use mana for. That Path of Stars upgrade isn't always going to be offered, which makes it kind of annoying, because then, well, that Blessing of Selene is actually fine no matter what. I think that's probably the best one. There's also the Moonwater, whatever it's called, the one that heals you. The reason that one's so good is because it replenishes mana with Path of Stars upgrades, and that's one of the very few ways, other than the Medea gift, for you to recover mana in this. So those are the 2 Path of Stars that you want to look for. So yeah, that was a pretty clean Cyclops fight. 5.5 minutes remaining. That's pretty good. So, okay, we actually did leave this area with 2 charges. So this is a good run right off the bat. That's good and lucky. So my second keepsake is going to be Selene here. This, obviously you get 10 Path of Stars upgrades right off the bat, which is pretty sweet. I was lucky enough to get Selene in the Hermes shop, so I'm able to do this right off the bat. But another reason I like it is that you guarantee a Selene door on the ships, so that often will take the place of a boon course. So then you're not seeing as many boons offered to you in a run, which is important. So now you will be able to see, most likely you will be able to see Selene offered for the rest of the run. So even after the Selene keepsake expires, you'll most likely be offered it on Olympus and on the surface climb. And that will be good for being offered fewer boons, because once the Chronos watch wears out, once you use all the charges, then you're kind of at the mercy of luck. If you get offered too many boons, then you have to reset, because once you take a boon, then this is no longer Boon-less, obviously. So Path of Stars here, you don't want to max it out because you really want to see Selene take up doorways for the next 2 areas after this. So if you don't have it maxed out, then on the surface, you only see 4 doors, right? So there's 2 branching paths. So you want one of those doors to be Selene, and then the other door will get onioned. It will turn into an onion from Vow of Forfeit. So that basically guarantees that the 4th area, the surface, will be cleared without having to take a boon. The tricky part after this is the first area of Olympus, because there are a ton of doors and a ton of, or you're more likely to see mandatory boon rooms on the surface. I'm not going to do the optional Selene mini game there because, like I was just explaining, you don't want to max that out too early. Eventually you will. Like, before the Typhon fight, you do want to have it maxed out, obviously, because it's one of our main sources of damage in the Guardian fights. And yeah, this is pretty much what the run is going to look like. A lot of Omega attacks. I don't think I use the special at all. Oh yeah, this is another one. So this is a pretty lucky run. We're also getting pretty much all of our NPC upgrades showing up. So Icarus is good. I can't remember if in this run we get the one that, the explosive intent, I think. It adds, I think 50 or 60 damage. I think it's 50 damage per Omega attack strike, which is pretty huge. So let's see if we get that. I think it is. Yeah, explosive intent, 50 damage for Omega strike, but it uses 10 more magic, which is a real cost considering we don't have any magic replenishing skills or abilities. But still, that's a huge boost to damage here. So right now we have the explosive intent, which adds 50 damage for Omega strike, and we have the Seething Marauder hammer, which is 60 damage per regular strike. And yeah, you just don't need specials at all. I think runs where you're stuck with special boons or special hammers, like a hammer that's offered to you that only helps out your special moves, I think that's basically just a reset, because it's just not useful with this aspect unless you have, you know, boons to help it out, but we're not doing that. So yeah, there are a few instances where you will need to use the special strike just to do fast damage at a bit of a range. I think with Prometheus, you might see it a little bit, and I think with Polyphemus, the Cyclops, when he's doing the stomps that summons the little zombie guys, I think the special is useful there. But other than that, pretty much just use your attack and Omega attack. That's all you need for this. Like, look at the damage here. Well, okay, it's not that impressive, but considering the run, like, the reason I'm using this aspect of Nurgle, is that its base damage is actually pretty high. I've tried doing this run with a few other aspects, and just not being able to upgrade the damage at all with boons makes it really tough to get through some of these areas, because most other aspects just aren't giving you that high base damage right off the bat. Okay, so this is the first... Okay, I think that was the last fight of the ship before Eris here, and then yeah, we had to use a Chronos charge. You want to go into Olympus with 2 charges if you can, but having 1 is fine. It's still totally doable with only 1 charge, because you have the Vow of Forfeit and you can choose your rooms. You should have rooms being taken up by the Daedalus Hammer and by Selene, so it should be enough. Obviously this run it is, but yeah, going into Olympus with 1 charge is usually fine. The big thing is not running into Athena. That is the run killer, basically. So even if things are going pretty well, like, this is a pretty good run so far. We didn't see Cersei. I think that's the one point of RNG that we're actually missing. Pretty sure you can have both Icarus and Cersei in a run. So that's probably like the best possible RNG, because we had both Medea and Icarus. So how's this fight going? Well, I got hit there. I think we're dealing a lot of damage with this Night Bloom? Is that what's called? Yeah, I think a Night Bloom. Doesn't count as a boon. I know that. This run would be pretty difficult without it. I think if you wanted to do this run without boons, without Arcana, and without the Blessing of Selene, I think you're probably in like less than 1% chance to clear a run without seeing any of that. Because Selene also takes away doors that could be boons, of course. So that was an okay fight. I think we're just dealing a lot of damage with, I think we got a lucky hammer and we got a lucky Icarus there. So I'm not sure what keepsake I'm going for here. Okay, the hammer. And I got lucky. Okay, yeah, so this is a pretty good RNG run. I think if you go for the hammer there as the keepsake, there are a lot of bad hammers that you could randomly get. Basically anything to do with your special is just a miss, a complete total whiff, because they're just not useful. So I got Psychic Whirlwind there, so that means your Omega attack fires off around you while you still get to move around. That's like probably the second best hammer, so behind the Seething Marauder, which we've also gotten as our first hammer, so pretty good luck so far. I think this is a pretty solid build. The reason why this one, the Psychic Whirlwind, is so good, obviously you deal a lot more damage because you're dealing attacks as well as your Omega attack, but you get to dodge and move around without having to cancel your Omega attack, which is really strong. So I think I go for Iron Core here. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think those are probably the 3 best hammers you can get for this particular run. So yeah, good RNG here. I think I'm worried about Athena because everything is so good, going so well. I'm not sure if you can hear, because while I was doing this, I think my PS5 controller was picking up my audio, so every once in a while, if I get hit by something, I know in the Medea room, I kind of lose it a bit because her rewards were so bad, and I had been doing this for so long that I just really wanted a good run, and Medea just gave me... I don't even know what Medea reward we have right now. It's probably something really junky. But the one you want from her is the mana. I think I talked about that. Yeah, the mana reward. Yeah, I think I'm losing it here. These armor guys can be pretty annoying, especially the harpies. I find it really hard to tell where they're going to be attacking and where to be around them because you're looking at the game from an isometric view, but they're kind of like off. It's hard to tell like where they are. Yeah, so other than that, so you don't want to get what's his name? Dionysus, because that, even though he's just an NPC, that's a boon, since he's a god. So you want to avoid those rooms, otherwise, obviously you have to take a boon and then the run's over. So can't go into there. Yeah, for Medea, other than the magic, I think you want the one that deals 15 damage to enemies when they take your Death Defiance is pretty good, because if you wind up dying to either Prometheus or Typhon, dealing a flat 15% to them is pretty good. And there are some rewards in this run that can give you additional Death Defiances. I guess it's just Cersei. Cersei can upgrade your pet so that you can get a second one. I'm not sure if there's any other way, but yeah, if you can get 2 Death Defiances and also the Medea reward that deals 15% when you lose your Death Defiance, I think that's a pretty strong build. It's kind of hard to make it work, but in that particular build, you would be able to deal 30% to, say, Typhon, just by doing nothing, basically. So that's pretty good. So other than the RNG aspect of having to get through this run without seeing so many boons, or running into Athena or Artemis. Yeah, I haven't mentioned that, but you can run into Artemis early on, which can kill a run, but that's at least in the first zone, so you can reset early. With Athena, you can go, this is maybe 20 minutes in, and then you just lose it to Athena. So here I'm choosing to do the mini-boss rather than the room, so that there's no chance of running into Athena. Every time you go into a room that's not a mini-boss, you have the chance to have her show up. So this is taking away any possibility of seeing Athena in this particular room. And then we're going to be using, I believe, our last Kronos charge. So we have to get lucky past here, because I think we've already used the onion, I believe. And yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Artemis can show up, and Athena can show up. And then other than the RNG aspect, you also have to actually finish the run. So I've had that where I've almost beat Typhon. I got through all the RNG, made it without picking up any boons, and then still lost to Typhon just because it's a hard fight when you have a crappy build. So I think this is a pretty good build. I'm not super worried at this point about dying, especially with getting the lifesteal upgrade. I forget what it's called. So we're healing 2 health. Oh, that was our Medea reward, was the sandwiches, the hot dogs from killing enemies. So that, yeah, okay, so we're doing a good job at not dying, which is strong when you have a good build. So yeah, this is a good run for sure.
I can use this.
And here we got lucky with the heart container next to the boon, because we are out of Kronos charges, so we cannot see another mandatory boon room, or else the run will be over. Yeah, this is a tricky run for sure. I think probably, I would guess, I wasn't counting, but I would guess probably 100 runs it took me to clear this. I did the Underworld pretty easily. I didn't record that because I didn't think it was that much of a challenge. Okay, so I'm feeling good here. So we got to Prometheus without having to use or without having the run be over, basically. So once we beat Prometheus, the surface will be pretty much guaranteed to be clear, because the first door will be an onion, and then the second door will be Selene. I'm pretty sure Selene has to show up if you haven't maxed out Path of Stars and you have her blessing. So I'm feeling good about this. I just have to actually finish the fights. Prometheus can be pretty tough though. He can deal a ton of damage, and the healing from this aspect actually isn't that great in this fight, because he can deal like 30 to 50 damage per hit, I think, and then you don't have that much opportunity to get in and deal damage without trading hits. So, yeah, these slow attacks are your best opportunity to get in with Omega attacks. But other than that, he attacks pretty quickly. Yeah. This isn't going to be the best showcase of how to actually do these fights. I don't think I'm actually that good at fighting Prometheus. But it does work out. I don't think this fight is too embarrassing. I'm not walking into too many attacks. And most of our damage is probably going to come from the Night Bloom, but we haven't had to fight any of the smaller enemies yet. We're doing okay on damage. We're starting to run out of mana here, which is that's just going to be the issue for this run. Once you run out of magic, your damage in these fights goes down significantly. Yeah, this is a little bit sloppy. Okay, I'm happy to see this. Getting the Satyrs, getting one of them to help out with a nearly maxed out Path of Stars. That's going to be good for damage. I think I'm mostly focusing on trying not to get hit, but I'm not doing a good job with that. So again, this isn't a showcase of how to be really good at the Prometheus fight. It's just getting through this particular challenge. Yeah, 418 damage per hit with a Satyr is pretty good. Yeah, that's just like way more than what Mel is doing her with this particular build. And with the Path of Stars, it looks like I managed to get the one that has your Night Bloom guys last the entire fight, which is pretty big. Because you can see that the second charge of Selene's Grace, her blessing, hasn't charged up yet, so if that Satyr expired, I wouldn't be able to summon another one. And that's going to be especially important for the Typhon fight, because you really just need... That's a fight that lasts a lot longer, basically. Yeah, no, I'm doing pretty poorly here in terms of not getting hit. I think I just want the fight to be over. Dodge the eagle, okay. I've been seeing people have a hard time with the Simon Says section of this fight, like people not being able to memorize the 5 flame pattern. I've never had an issue with that. I'm not sure. I think there's only so many patterns that can show up. It's not completely random. So once you kind of get used to what the possible patterns are, once you recognize what he's doing, I think it gets easier. It's a little bit hard to explain, but I think the more you do that fight, the more you can kind of recognize there's only so many possible variations of that he does. And yeah, this run, you just have a ton of money, so just buy everything that's not a boon, pretty much, or Path of Stars, because, once again, you don't want to max that out before Typhon, so Selene should eat one of these doors here. I kind of have an issue with these guys too, the enemies on the surface. If you're not dealing a ton of damage, I find that just tank a lot of hits. Especially from these sharks, I don't know what the issue is. Even when I can tell exactly what they're doing, they still wind up hitting me. Oh, the eye's pretty annoying too. The eye, it has like super armor. Even when you break the armor, it still does its attack while you're hitting it. Just a little bit annoying. I don't need that skull, but we do have enough enough Vow to pick it up, so why not? Twins is probably better to see here. Well, maybe not. Actually, I think the giant shark guy is easier overall than these two, because you can pretty much just stay behind him Whereas this, you're having to focus on so much on screen at once. And it's a little bit annoying dodging their dive attack, where they jump out of the ground. It can seem like you're getting out of the way, but then not really. Yeah, this build looks like it's pretty high damage right now, so that wasn't too bad. Okay, so the first room was Selene, so then the second room will be an onion. So that is taken care of. Now we just have to actually finish the run.
Such terrifying might.
Got the eye guy, the little whack-a-mole dude, which is pretty annoying. If you're doing speedruns, the whack-a-moles can be pretty annoying, because the runaway enemies I find to be kind of annoying. Well, really annoying sometimes, especially because I've been trying to lower my time on each aspect. And going into rooms with lots of runaway enemies, you'll know what I'm talking about once you start doing, or if you've been doing speedruns for any of the aspects. Just going into rooms and then all of the enemies run away from you so they can shoot in the corner is pretty annoying. Oh, 2 Selene. Wow, that's weird. You don't see that often. I didn't think that that was a thing, but well, we just saw it. Okay, so 2 Selene doors. Kind of overkill, but that's fine. I think I like doing the eye better than the tail, just because the fight tends to go faster. I guess it depends. There's a lot more going on, and I know I'm taking a lot more damage than I would in the tail fight. But I mean, there's less running. I mean, the enemy doesn't run away from you. I think that's the biggest thing that I find annoying about this game, is so many enemies, even these mini-bosses, that spend so much of the fight just running away. Like when the tail runs away to the opposite side of the screen to do its charge-up attack instead of just doing it right beside you. I find that really annoying. But yeah, I'm definitely taking more damage here than I would against the tail. I think I went a little bit faster. Okay, I guess we're maxing out Path of Stars here. Yeah.
Thus you have risen.
And then what's at this last shop? Probably nothing useful. Some mana, some health, some armor. I guess that's fine. So, just over 400 mana, that's okay. I think that's probably about average. And then less than 200 health, which I think is low. I feel like you want around 200 or more at this point, but the build is really good. Actually have some good damage with our hammers. Oh yeah, I think you can hear me kind of freaking out. I don't know why. I think I'm just worried about dying, because it's so hard to get to this point without picking up a boon. Yeah, this is some good damage. Still haven't made it to the summon part of the fight. Not too bad. Used about a quarter of our mana. You don't want to use it too early, because most of your Omega attacks you want to save for the end, because that's obviously a lot trickier to find opportunities to deal damage. In the last phase, there's just a lot more going on. I think I got lucky with the small eggs, so they're just easier to kill. Well, maybe not. Actually, I don't think this is lucky at all. Having 3 of these armored dudes. But they go down pretty quickly. And I think having a stronger summon would be better for our Night Bloom also. But these guys aren't too bad. I think our Night Bloom guy does a lot of damage. His first attack did 1,000, 500, 500, 500. Oh, that's huge. Oh yeah, this is why this run went so well. Look at that. 500, 500, 500. That's excellent. I didn't even notice. It's hard to tell, hard to pay attention to the damage numbers while you're actually doing the fight, but Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, all the damage is coming from the summon. That's crazy. Are we going straight into phase 3? Yeah. Skipped it. Yeah, and those eggs go down like nothing. Yeah, this is pretty easy at this point. Full health. Still enough mana to get some Omegas in. This that Night Bloom summon is just going wild. I think I do okay in this Typhon fight. I don't think I'm taking too much damage. Oh, that was so easy. Yeah, okay, so Night Bloom, I think that's it. If you're gonna do this run, look for Night Bloom. That's just a ridiculous amount of damage. That's gonna be way more than anything else that you pick up. Yeah, crazy. Okay, so that was a good run. It was successful, so it had to be. Okay, yeah, that took 21 minutes. 13 fear. A lot of that fear is just, you know, taking away grasp of Arcana. And yeah, wow. Thanks for watching. If you feel like doing this run yourself, I would love to hear about it. If not, whatever.